Hello there and welcome to this section of the capital presentation video series. We're going to be talking about how to accelerate your condo portfolio's growth with refinancing. A bit about myself, my name is Randy McDonald. I'm the president of Heresy Condo Marketing. We're specialists in investor-focused condo email marketing solutions. We've been involved in over 40 pre-construction condo projects in Southern Ontario since 2008. Published over 900 real estate articles online since 2009. Website's heresyemail.com. Bit about Kingston's Capital Condos developer and Nate Developments. They are a condo and townhome specialist with 20 years experience developing in undersupplied areas outside the Greater Toronto Area, including Waterloo and now downtown Kingston. NateDevelopments.ca. There is the future Capitol building in downtown Kingston. And so here are the various video presentations we've got for the Capitol series. The first is on maximizing condo investment profitability. The second is on Ontario's undersupplied condo markets. First part on Waterloo, second part in downtown Kingston, both of which Nate Developments has developed in. Third is on Ontario's best and worst condo markets. The fourth is on financial analysis for the Capital Condos, where we give a detailed breakdown of both the short and long term as an investment, short and long term, for these condos, and also what you're watching now, which is accelerate your condo portfolio's growth with refinancing. So let's dive in. Talk about refinancing. So first, before I get into that, I need you to clearly understand the concept of leverage and how it applies to real estate. All wealthy people have grown rich through some form of leverage. Different wealthy people have done it through different means of leverage in different forms, and I just want to give you a few examples before I get into real estate. So for business owners, what they do is they leverage their employees. So they're getting the employees for doing various necessary tasks, so they don't have to do everything themselves, and then therefore they can enjoy greater productivity. Another form of leverage is with entertainers. Like for instance, they leverage various media. For instance, CDs, MP3s, radio, DVDs, Blu-ray, web, you name it, for having their art heard, whether it's music, comedy, heard by large numbers of people. We all know musicians have sold millions of CDs and DVDs of concerts and that sort of thing, and they've done it through the power of leverage of mass production of these mediums, especially now with the internet. Okay, movie industry, same idea. They leverage various media, whether it be movie theaters, television, DVDs, etc., for having their movies seen by large numbers of people. Okay? And with real estate, where leverage is that you leverage other people's money, mainly the bank's money, for purchasing real estate. Okay? So what you want to understand is wealth building by leveraging your condo's equity. So the reality is that very few real estate investors get maximum leverage from any of their properties, whether it's from their home or their investment properties. And then really it's because they don't clearly understand the concept of leverage, nor how it applies to real estate. Real estate leverage is simply using your existing property's equity for purchasing additional property. That's as simple as it gets as an idea. Okay? And how it's done is banks allow investors to use any accumulated property equity as collateral for borrowing additional money and using it for other purposes. In this case, borrowing for down payment on buying additional condos from your first condo. So real estate really has amazing leverage capabilities. It's the only investment class where the average person can borrow money against the asset's value and earn return on a multiple of your amount invested. Okay? So this whole idea, I'm going to play this out in what I mean by a multiple of your amount invested. So let's take, for instance, here's some more examples and examples of multiples. Okay, so let's say, for instance, you get a mortgage for a property and you pay 15% cash down, and you get a mortgage for the remaining that you need to buy the property, which is 85%. That means that you have got a multiple of 6.66. In other words, you are not earning a multiple on. You are not earning money on just your 15% cash. You are earning it on 100%, which is 6.66 times that. Okay. Another example: 20% cash. You are earning a multiple. An 80% mortgage. You are earning on a multiple of 5. You're not earning on 20% of the value. You're earning on 100%. And since you're only putting 20% down, which is 1/5, you're earning on a multiple of 5. To express that a little more clearly, here's an example. By buying a one-bedroom condo in the capital, where you're earning on where the mortgage is 20% cash and it's an 80% mortgage, which is a multiple of 5. In this case, you're investing 47,980 cash, but you're earning capital appreciation on the entire value of the asset worth 239.9, which is 5 times the amount of 239.9 divided into 5 is 47,980. Okay, so that's really the power of real estate, is to be able to earn on multiples of your cash invested, depending on the ratio of the cash you've invested to the amount that you have to finance to pay for the rest of the property with the mortgage. However, most investors allow their property equity to grow unchecked over the years as the mortgage paid down and the capital appreciates, and so they gradually lose their original high leverage position unnecessarily. You know, there's this misconception out there that it's better to own a property 100% and not be paying the the interest on the mortgage anymore, rather than having a debt, a balance outstanding and paying interest. And that's a real misconception. We'll get into why that is in a minute. So banks allow you to reinvest your investment properties' accumulated equity into additional properties, thereby keeping your leverage level continually high in your real estate portfolio and maximizing your earning capabilities. And I use the word capabilities because it allows you to be earning off of multiple property assets simultaneously through refinancing. So so this idea of you want to own 100% of the property, and that's a better situation than having debt, common objection to mortgages and refinancing is, you have to pay interest on additional mortgages. Isn't refinancing just building more debt? And really what you have to understand here is the big difference between good debt and a bad debt. And a lot of people don't understand that the difference. They just see debt as just one big thing applied to any type of asset. And there are big differences. So bad debt is debt from purchasing assets that depreciate in value. So for instance, the moment you buy a car, from day one, it's worth less than the next day. It's worth less immediately. Okay. Any sort of retail purchases, buying furniture for yourself, vacations, especially things like food that are completely perishable and just done once you finish them. All of these are depreciable assets and therefore fall into the category of bad debt. Good debt, however, is debt from purchasing assets that appreciate in value, that go up in value over time, and there's none better than real estate. So mortgage refinancing is definitely a good form of debt because you're borrowing money on to pay for something that is appreciating in value. Okay, very simple. So maximizing your leverage through regular property refinancing is a highly effective, very safe, long-term wealth building strategy. Okay, bottom line, refinancing allows investors to snowball their condo portfolio's growth over time. So I want you to keep this image in your mind after this presentation of the snowball rolling down the hill, and just picking up speed, picking up size as it goes along, and just becoming a juggernaut as time goes on and it goes further down the hill. That's exactly what happens when you own real estate and you effectively refinance periodically over time. And we're going to get into examples of how that's done, specifically using the capital condos as an example. So let's look at this case study now and say, and this is using this is for leveraging condos equity. This is only using your capital condo investment at means of refinancing and purchasing additional condos over time. Now, you could look at this if you currently own an investment property, say you own a condo, you can just think of it as using your existing condo, especially if you've owned it for a few years, and think of it this way. Just think that you either own a property or you've bought a condo in the capital. Okay, so one thing to note right up front: each investor's refinancing options will differ depending on financial status, their income, their debt, their credit history, all these factors, and then their bank as well. Okay, so each person has a different ability to refinance. So first we need to consider there's 3 sources of property equity. Okay, in any investment property, there's the monthly income that you get from the rental income from your tenant. There's also equity accumulation by paying the mortgage down, and there's also capital appreciation. In other words, the asset rising in value, overall value. Okay, So looking at these three things, these are the this is sort of the long-term growth pattern for what the capital investment. This is a one-bedroom, by the way. This is what the capital appreciation. This is what the financial situation looks like for in 5-year increments. So if you look at years 1 through 5, this is the amount of money you've made in the net operating income, which is your from your monthly rental income. This is from paying down the mortgage, and this is from capital appreciation using a rate. All of these figures are in the financial analysis video separate from this, where we go into more detail about the capital as an investment and looking at it from these perspectives. But this is just really a summary. So if you look at these three things, your equity position at the end of 5 years, total return on investment is the sum of these above three fields. You're looking at over $110,000, $115,000 after 5 years. Okay, so and this is what it looks like after 10 years. Okay, where my cursor is, after 15 years, and so on and so forth, right to the end of the right to the end of the term of the mortgage. Okay, and the 30 years. All right. So what I need you to understand here is what this all means in terms of refinancing. So this will actually allow you, this situation will actually allow you to buy another condo using your existing equity every 5 years with this refinancing model. Okay, so what I'm showing you here is how that's done, and showing you how much money you have. You're able to do this. Okay, so at the end of year 5, your total return on investment, I've just basically copied this row here, okay, this lower row here, and copied it to the top here. Okay, so if you look at your total return on investment, that's where you are at the end of year 5. Okay, this would be that same condo that you bought's market value at the end of that year, using the appreciation rate we've used for Kingston, which is 5.47. Okay, so there's how much it would cost to buy the same condo in the 5th year that you bought 5 years previous. Okay, at the end of the 5th year. Okay, so there's how much it would cost to have a down payment on that condo. 20% of 346 is 69.7. And so notice that you already have built up 115,000 in equity and change in equity. Yet to have the 20% down payment, you only need just shy of 70,000. Okay, so you've actually got quite a bit of equity left over by simply taking and borrowing this amount of money against your first condo and using it as a down payment to buy a second condo. Okay, and so you can see here that, you know, at the as this goes along, using your first condo as sort of like your bank account for buying additional properties. You see at the end of year 10, it's the same thing, that you've got this much from equity from years 5 through year 6 through 10. You need 20% down payment, and that's what the value of the property would be at the end of year 10, and there's how much you would have left over. So you can see throughout this whole scenario, every 5 years, you have more than enough. In fact, by year 25, you have a ton of money left over, and it's for some people that have really good credit and, you know, willing banks, they may even be able to buy more properties over time based on their equity position, especially if you consider the other properties are accumulating and appreciating in value as well simultaneously as you go along. But to be conservative, we're saying that every 5 years, this is the rule of thumb with this model, that you can be refinancing and buying equivalent one-bedroom condo throughout the term of the mortgage. Okay, so solely by refinancing your one-bedroom capital condo periodically, or any condo, really, it doesn't have to be the condo capital, but we're just using this for the sake of an example and showing specific numbers. The average investor can buy a comparable one-bedroom condo every 5 years at future market prices without using any additional financial resources, in other words, cash or other investment. It's just basically, think of it as a condo just spawning other condos every 5 years. It just basically gives birth to another condo every 5 years. Pretty simple, okay? And so really, considering just your first condo would be worth over 1.3 million after 30 years, you'd be a multi-millionaire by retirement age by buying one condo with your found money, and I mean found money as in money you didn't know you had but have, every 5 years over the next 30 years. Okay, so really this is why so many people have become wealthy through real estate more than any other asset class is through real estate, and this is the reason why: the power of leverage, the power of refinancing. And so just looking at that original asset, this is a preview of the financial analysis video for the capital. This is where the summary you get of all of the different types of income coming in. But what I want to point out here, just briefly, rather than going into details, all of this information is available in the capital financial analysis video. But what I want to point out here is that the bottom line is that this asset, as I said, is worth over 1.3 million after 30 years. Okay, and if you look at it and divide that number by 30, that's the number you get. So what that means is that every year you are essentially, with this asset, you are adding $45,000 in income to your what you've already got in terms of your asset. Okay, you're basically adding $45,000 a year to your income. Okay, so you know, if you imagine that you're buying a new condo every 5 years, all right, you know, by the time you own 2 condos, 3 condos, you've already got a 6-figure passive income happening. Okay, over 100,000 with each one worth 45,000. So pretty interesting to look at it from this perspective. And again, I want you to remember this idea of a snowball rolling down the hill. It starts small and it grows and accumulates in size, and eventually it becomes a juggernaut. That can be your real estate portfolio with refinancing through leverage. Again, this analysis is only meant to illustrate the power of refinancing. Each investor will have a different ability to refinance. So, you know, we're just using this as a general average. What the average investor can do every 5 years is the thumbnail, is the rule of thumb. And what you want to do is talk to your bank or mortgage broker about your refinancing options, and today and over the long term as your home and investment property equity grows. You know, you may have enough leverage in your current properties, whether it's your home, your other condos, or both, where you can actually buy another condo today, whether it's in the capital or anywhere else, without taking any cash out of your bank account to do so, simply through creatively refinancing and doing it like that. So, you know, it's an amazing opportunity for many people that have very equity-rich properties that are underutilizing them. It's something you definitely need to talk to your bank or mortgage broker about ASAP. So the bottom line, with the capital being the very first high-rise condo in the heart of downtown Kingston, investors can capitalize on the high demand in this very undersupplied emerging condo market. This demand, coupled with the capital's absolutely prime AAA location, bodes very well for your unit's long-term appreciation and your overall return on investment. And so you can learn more about why all of this is in the other videos we have in this presentation series. So the next video you will definitely want to be watching, if you haven't already, is the financial analysis for the Capital Condos video, number 4. And in that, we give a detailed long-term analysis of the capital condo investment during both pre-construction and post-construction periods, so that you have a very clear sense of the value of the asset as the years go on, both short-term and long-term. It looks at the asset and using the buy and hold strategy, in other words, getting a tenant to live in the property and pay your rent, pay the mortgage rather, and those 3 incomes: operating income, equity growth, and capital appreciation. All of it's fully explained in this video. If after watching all of this you're interested in knowing more about the capital, have any questions, feel free to give me a call or shoot me an email. There's my contact information. Again, I'm Ray McDonald. Thanks for watching.